mute yourself.
Boy.
I like muting myself from time to time.
The world and the moon and outer space and all the planets have all been misdescribed to us. Everything, in my opinion, and the space agencies were put in place for one reason, and that is to protect the lies that NASA has. The space missions to the moon. It's to protect those lies. All the space agencies,
no
that's all they do
flag
is
at the
protect
moon.
those lies. And they indoctrinate.
Yeah, they're protecting their lies, exactly.
And they indoctrinate us all at a very young age. We didn't know how to argue when we were in
Lied to
third
my
grade.
mom when she was a young girl.
Mm-hmm.
Sad to lie to a whole public, a whole earth, to have like 8-10 old men just make a fake moonland and lie to a whole earth. Young women, cars got ugly even, you know what I mean? Gosh.
Yeah, women were ugly, you said?
Cars got ugly. Just everything got like Vega or Pinto, you know?
Yeah. No. Yeah, sort of. No. No.
And everybody, all the public, all praised the American flag, and it was all fucked, all a lie. It was bad.
Well, I'm afraid I don't think I'm drunk enough to do this anymore. Come in tomorrow and listen to Tanya. She'll be here from the Native Paranormal Seekers.
Aaron wanted to say something.
Well, I can keep going for another half hour if you want. But
2 hours.
That's about it. I'll do another half hour or something.
No, it's okay. You got a show
Everybody's, you guys are drunk, man.
Dang.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm sober, mama.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Leona.
Yes.
I'm glad you're here. There's too many drunk people.
Too many
I'm
drunk
sober.
people. No, I'm stoned. I'm just not drunk.
Me too. Yeah, you're on my level. I'm just stoned on marijuana.
I am
Yep.
eating Rocky Road ice cream sober.
Oh, well.
Oh, yeah.
You're
Yeah,
drunk on
Kurt
sugar.
is sober. Kurt's sober. All right. Yeah, Kurt's sober. It was a mixture of clapping and laughing. I'd say most people didn't believe you, Kurt. Sorry.
Okay.
You're a liar. Lying, lying, Kurt,
Just go
is
ahead.
against the Bible. It's against the
I
Bible.
can say whatever I want. I'll ask for
Oh, I get it. That's evil, though. I think you're possessed. You've been drinking so much that you know what happens when people drink too much. They drink so much that their own spirit gets clouded out and they're easily possessed by demons.
a bit
That
of
would
bad
be true.
influence on me, Wolfman. You taught me to that now. Gosh dang.
Easily possessed by demons.
Wolfman
What was that?
always encouraged me to.
No, it's true. You can get possessed easier when you're really, really, really drunk, or
Yeah, because they
true.
can get, you're not really there, so they just need a vessel to come here.
That's right. And when you're all fucked up, your spirit's not very strong. You're at your weakest point.
That's
People
why
can
when
talk you into
people are-
things.
Or people are sick, or they're like emotionally upset, like they're having a bad marriage or whatever. That's when they can get, because you're weak. You're leaving your
weak.
body. Your spirit leaves your body a lot when you're fucked up.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
I think the Lord's first miracle was water into wine, and I think the being
I will
drunkenness
possess you.
maybe gave them better input or insight into truth.
It's all fake. That's funny, Mr. Demon. Did you guys hear that, Demon?
Sure.
Kurt, you're attracting demons around here. They're hanging around here looking for someone to
Why
get in
would
there.
Jesus make water into wine his first miracle?
It's all fake. To
I want her to
drunk.
answer that.
To get drunk.
What?
So everyone would get drunk.
Why did he turn water into wine? Because his mother wanted him to.
Oh, I got a better.
Out of wine.
Yeah. So he just did, and also after doing the fake miracle,
so great.
No, because everyone was half wasted already, so they were easily to trick. He tricked them real easily. So
Probably
then
took
get
a
them
bunch
really
of
drunk.
red wine and added water to it so it could make it go longer. You know.
Yeah, some kind of red water. Yeah, and with some flavoring, like a flavoring package, like Kool-Aid. You probably put Kool-Aid and LSD in there. Kool-Aid and LSD.
No. That was that guy in Guyana, the fucking guy that talked everybody into killing themselves.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that back then they had something similar, like a red powder that with some sweetness to it and some drugs like that.
No,
they
had
get
the
from plants.
the same poison because it comes from a plant. So
yeah, it's probably just hallucinogenic plant when they put some flavoring and dumped it in there and just mixed it up with the red color. I'm sure they could come up with something close to that.
They didn't have those kind of rules. The Romans did whatever they fucking wanted to do.
Just thinking that for Father, Son, Holy Ghost, that our son, Jesus, his first miracle was water into wine. And they enjoyed themselves, and I just think that's cool. It's no worry.
Well, that's the one that they wrote down.
Cocktails.
You gotta remember, that's the one that they wrote down, and the people that wrote that down, most of them were dead. You know, like the ones that are according to John. John didn't write it. Somebody like 200 or 300 years after wrote it. So, you know, the Bible does have good stuff in it, but you've got to look beneath it and you've got to see it, read between the lines. The gist of it's there, but what they want you to know, you know, the lesson or the idea, but it being accurate, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Well,
some of it is,
saying,
some of it
though,
isn't. Yeah,
that's
the first one they got in the book. In the book that somebody actually, there's parts of it missing, and some of it hasn't been found yet. And some guy way back when, some Roman guy, you know, he said, "Oh no," Constantine said, "Oh no, we're going to make this book so that we still can keep control of our country and unite the world again. And so we're just going to take the ones that we don't want, that makes it okay for you to talk directly to God, so on and so forth, and we'll just toss them out." So, like I said, it's a wonderful book. Lots of good stuff in it. Lots of good instructions and, you know, actual truths. But you gotta kind of look at the human part of it. They had how many fingers had been in it? Just in Genesis alone, they've got 400 writers. So, you know, yeah. So, you know, it's a wonderful thing. But I'd say the Old Testament is a little bit more accurate in some of the details, but they've also got stuff mixed up.
Like the point that he did that, we had that in the his first miracle, if that's what happened.
Yeah,
and we're in 2019 now, and we like the cocktail and stuff. So, like, you know what I mean? It's all right that we have a cocktail. And
you know, the funny part is, a lot of the stories are mimic other stories from other cultures that are identical, you know. So it's the idea. It's just like, you know, when an idea, we're all connected. So there's like, it metaphorically, or the theory is, there's a big box out there, and everything that ever possibly could be discovered or whatever is all in it. And when the time comes, 4 or 5 people think of the same idea or come up with the same message at the same time. And the only person that gets credit is the person who makes it to the thing first or puts his name on it, or is the last person to put all the pieces together. It's the same thing with where we came from. We don't know very much. We know some, but we filled in the blanks, and story's a little bit shaky at best. And as we know, lots of it is not true, but they leave it in the history books anyway because it's more convenient.
I think it's pretty cool that Jesus first, if this was true, that was to turn water into wine. And
Well, then his mother nagged him. He didn't want to. His mother nagged him. It even says that.
I know. And I think it's pretty cool that George Washington, distillery. So.
Oh, yeah. Cool. They all did. They all made money that way.
Just everything liquor.
And growing hemp.
So I think that, hemp and cocaine are first.
Actually, I heard that Jesus, there's right in the Bible, it tells you what he was using. When every time it says anointing of people in the Bible, he was using marijuana and hashish and all kinds of stuff mixed together. Yes, it's true.
No, actually,
the fucking recipe is in the Old Testament, and it tells you what the oil is that the Jewish people mixed back then. It included marijuana. It was very strong
every time
shit.
They said they washed their feet, they didn't wash their feet, they washed their balls. I'm telling you. Because I'm not kidding you. The Jewish language, the Old Hebrew, they did a lot of flowery stuff. Like they called it one thing, but it was another. It was their way of saying something that was kind of a personal thing that they didn't really want to. It wasn't the repression. It was just a better way of saying it. So, because they didn't wear underwear, the men didn't wear underwear, so it was dusty there. Water was not. Things to wash was not quickly available, so that was a tradition, So you just and I didn't realize that either until I had started reading history on some of the the culture on it, and I was like, oh, so the context by the words they use or the words that were translated, it means a whole lot other thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
This earth, all that.
Yeah, I watch a lot of documentaries, too.
Titanic. Oh, gosh.
So does Willie.
On Titanic.
Was that Willie that jumped in and said, shut that bitch up?
Said something. Willie said something.
Is that what he said, really?
I'll just shut up.
That's awful. No, you don't just shut up. No, if it's bugging Willie, keep going, please.
No, I mean, you can take it or leave it. It's just what I read. I don't know.
Eating his possum or his squirrel. Oh, no, penguin. Penguin pie.
Oh, you can eat a little penguin. They're cute. With their little eyes and their little flappy feet and, the way they walk and stuff. And live in really ice-cold stuff. Except some of them do live in the tropics. But some of them do live in the tropics.
Arizona is colder than Alaska right now.
I don't know. I would eat a penguin with pizza. A penguin pizza? Definitely.
When they lay eggs, the female stays in until she can't stand anymore. And she splits, and the dad has to stand there, standing up all the time, but with a bunch of other penguins that are standing up, either with a freaking egg. Poor little penguins, and you want to eat them? God, isn't their life tough enough as it is?
Who cares? They're yummy.
They're cute.
Yummy little big, yummy, juicy penguins.
They'll slap you. They'll slap you, man.
He's laughing so hard.
Oh, nothing wrong with a little bit of penguins.
I'll give you a penguin.
Father.
Penguin stew.
Fricasseed penguin casserole.
I think the rapture going to happen soon.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. Don't call that in, man. I'm not done yet. Wait till I leave. I want to leave first before that happens.
There is a
white horse. Or anything. I want to be in that first wave because I'm not that survivalist.
Cool
I'm not into it.
Final generation of the rapture happened.
I'll just hang out. I'll go right before it happens. And I'll watch from the bleachers.
Oh, gotta have the rapture. AP, I want to save you. You're going up with us.
Yes.
Well, the people that are dead are going
I will
to
be there.
anyway, so we're all going to go, man, one way or the other. Because the
Die
body,
like
the
in
body is
30
just
years.
this is just rented. The body is just rented. We, you know,
We
hang
what
out
did the
for a
Bible
while,
say?
then we
It
leave, and
says
then we
a
hang out for a
temporary
while.
coat, or a temporary flesh coat. We all smell in the casket one day, or turn to bug.
We're not there. We're not really there. The body's there. That's disposable. We just leave that behind. There's like, there's
But then the Bible says that all the graves resurrect, though, too. So all the caskets, like,
I don't want I'm not inhabiting some fucking dead, decrepit body. They can keep that shit.
but the Bible says that all the graves resurrect and come out.
Well,
So
then there'll be a population of
it
zombies.
would be
Okay,
a crazy day. My
they
goodness.
fucking don't know. Just like the scientists, they think they know everything. They don't know shit. They know a little bit. There's more unseen than there is seen. Duh.
Imagine all the thousands of guards all resurrecting, and wow, what a day!
That would be creepy. That would be just creepy.
The Bible
When I was a
says a
kid, my
day
worst
of
movie was
terror.
Night of the Living Dead, and no way. I ain't into that.
The
Fuck that
scripture
shit.
says a day of what does it say? Horror. Day of horror.
Yeah, I'll leave. I'll pass. Send me the pictures. It's like
We
people
all
who want to go to Mount
heaven.
Everest. It's like people that climb Mount Everest. Why would I want to do that? Send me the pictures. I'm fine with that.
There'll be a day of infamy or something like that, but
Day of
we all go
infamy.
to heaven.
No, that was Pearl Harbor, I think.
Kind of like all the people in the graves, like they come out and they turn to the real people and they fly away, something like that.
Well, which one? Because I believe in reincarnation, so we're just like until we get it right or get whatever it is, nirvana, whatever you want to call it. Really, which body do you want me to take? I've been around for a long time. I know because I've seen my past lives.
The Bible says that we'll look at each other like we knew each other, our same kind of look.
Okay,
how we look at the
that's
Bible,
great.
but we're gonna all the graves are gonna raise and all the caskets come out.
Like I said, I'll pass.
Okay.
I'll pass.
That's what happens, though.
Well, that's one story, yeah. We really don't know, do we? For sure.
JP, you never finished the reading for Snarky.
I was just going to get to that.
Oh, and everybody's asking who the new lady is here.
Oh. Well,
it's the Lioness.
This is Lioness. She's great. What's up, Lioness?
Oh, not so much.
So our first
card out on a Friday night.
Starkey pulled an 8 of Wands, as you recall. The second card was the 10 of Wands. Upright, meaning a burden or extra responsibility that can be overcome by hard work and completion. Snarky, I bet you're very busy with all these wands. Very, very busy. We have one more card for you. We're going to tie all three together in our last segment tonight.
Oh, we got a lot of wands here. Yeah, oh yeah.
A lot of wands.
Big wands, small wands. Everyone wands. Wands.
Wands are us.
Yeah.
It is. The treasure
all
trove
the graveyards come out.
So, Kurt, Snarky says that wouldn't Jesus be considered a zombie because he rose from the dead?
No.
Yeah.
He's dead long enough, man.
Yeah.
The kind. One.
It's a fucking zombie, man. Fake.
Well, actually, it was
Fake zombie.
his brother that died on the cross. He took off with his old lady, man. Went to France or something.
He said that because, from what I was told, it was not. It was not him. It was somebody else. You're right.
It was his brother.
He
He had a brother. He had several brothers. One of them, yeah.
Yeah, it was somebody else that took the cross. It wasn't the guy that was.
Mike, don't be.
He was a magician, just like David Copperfield. All right, he did stuff like that. Yeah, that's all he was.
It wasn't about him dying. It actually wasn't about him dying. The reason why you needed to listen to him was about the way he lived. It wasn't about the way he died. And the dying part was just to let us know that it's our soul that lives on, not necessarily the body. It was just a message.
Okay, then he was reincarnated. That's right. So that means you Christians believe in reincarnation.
No, I'm not necessarily Christian.
I
believe in reincarnation. I believe that you take all the religions and overlap them, all the ones that are all the things that are
and
the
I'm
same.
a Christian dude.
I go to the Church of Liana. I read stuff. I know what I feel is to be true.
Real.
And the thing is, all roads lead to Rome. It's just as long as you get there.
Yeah, but with the reborn Christians, I believe that if they think they're reborn, then aren't they reincarnationists?
Well, reborn in their. That's what they
can believe in reincarnation and be a Christian too.
Well, Jesus talks about reincarnation.
I think that's a hidden meaning.
If you read the original text, he does talk about it. And so, myself, I was raised Catholic, but there was lots of it that didn't ring true, and it was all the stuff that human beings made up.
I heard that the New Testament, all kinds of books are missing because they talked about reincarnation.
And a lot of books are missing because Jesus talked about you don't need the priest, you don't need the church. Church is within you. God, wherever you go, that's where God is, because it's in you. And see,
you could have been on Titanic in the third class
because of the
locked in.
He wanted to make Rome
able to be back.
Everybody had to go to unite Rome. A power hungry motherfucker.
And lock people in Titanic third class and leave them locked in the gates.
And they drown in cold water.
They get to come back.
Thanks, but no thanks. There's no good way to come back after you're dead and been lying around, whatever
the Lord
it is.
Lets them come back.
What happens to those that get cremated? Are they fucked? They go around
saying third class Titanic passengers locked in come back.
This is what it sounded like when people died on the Titanic.
They came back and have memories. Unknown. Oh, that unknown.
They're like in a big freaking video game, man.
Yeah, that was my sound effects for dying on the Titanic.
Very quiet. Yeah, but you needed like metal rusting at the bottom of the water, like like that.
Oh, I don't have the creaky noises that I need.
No, but now
you need
that weird.
Closest what I got. That's close I got to that.
Part sounds like that.
Yeah, I need something with the metal twisting.
Yeah, like clanging underwater sound.
How about a dolphin? How about a dolphin?
How about a whale in the How about a whale in the No, how we're going.
Mean people.
I got whale noises here somewhere. haven't took that out. I'm not kidding.
The tone quality of the whale song,
Can you
the
hear
vibration
me?
is the same as the sound that comes off our planet.
People.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is better. This is what it would sound like underwater when you're
I'm saying
after you sunk in the Titanic. This should make you feel right at home, Kurt, because this is what it sounds like underwater. Like when you're drifting down and you drown. This is what it sounds like under there after you sunk. This is what it sounds like.
Lord, let you
We're underwater, folks. We're underwater.
No, don't play it.
Yeah. It's playing. Sorry, we're underwater. There's whales singing to you while you die.
I don't hear.
And I never want to hear you talk about the Titanic again. So just experience this, experience this death, this nice death.
Are you on your show on Discord? Or are you on that hee-haw place?
You probably can't hear it very good in there. No, I think I'd have to turn my sensitivity up.
It might be time to read.
I know.
Might be time to read Snarky's final card for tonight.
Snarky's final card.
Snarky's final card is the High Priestess in reversal. A great card, no matter what. And, so it's a highly sexualized overtone to everything else. So with the fast-paced action from the Eight of Wands and all the other stuff going on with all those wands she's got, when you go down and you look at the love reading, even in reversal, there's a strong likelihood that others are finding Snarky fucking hot right now. Is that crazy? Don't ignore it.
Read the fucking card and shut up.
Don't ignore it.
Shh.
Especially if you're looking for love, Snarky, right now might be the time. But if you're already in a relationship, you might just be having a tough time understanding where they're coming from. In reversal. Otherwise, it would just be like, you'd be slutting out. So I'm happy, actually, that it's in reversal. That just means things are a little bit more occulted for you, but you'll find it. How's that? So I tied all three together.
That was good.
Oh,
nice.
Snarky's getting late.
That was well done.
Did you guys miss me?
Yes, I did. I was getting really horny.
No.
Kurt actually missed me. I'm sick of you not attending church on Sundays. What? It's something that hurts me when you don't attend.
You sleep
Kurt, why do you go to church?
You listen to that late night show, you sleep in, you miss Sunday Mass. It's every fucking time.
He does. And there's no excuse because there's multiple times you can go on a Sunday.
Yeah, like Apocalypse and I, we have a nap before the show, and that way we still end up, and we're waiting there for you at the church, and you never show up.
Never show up, not even once. Kurt.
You used to hold hands with us. The three of us used to skip together to go, hold hands and skip into the church together.
Kurt, God is watching you. Whatever we say means nothing.
The church anymore.
I don't know, man.
Go
Are you sure?
ahead with your goddamn reading of what's her name?
No,
JP.
That was it, my friend.
I'm sorry.
You missed it.
From now on, we gotta have this sound for Kurt, the underwater sound, as he drowns over and over in his. Well, he's drunk. It's actually the reason you keep thinking about the Titanic, Kurt. I've seen it in my visions. What it is, you're so drowning in alcohol. You picture a Titanic in your head. It's your own consciousness trying to tell you you're drinking too much. You're drowning in booze. That's what the Titanic thing is all about. It's a self-programmed thing in your subconscious. It's emerging. This Titanic thing has to do with drinking.
No.
Do you agree, Apocalypse?
It could be, yes. But I don't want to
talking to Dr. Well, Dr. Phil told me that anyway.
Yeah. It could be. Maybe this is a call for sobriety. I don't know.
Dr. Or Dr. Phil. Or Leona. I mean.
Leona.
Leona. Maybe it's a call for you.
It's Leona is Guido, and Leona
Could you be like
is Russian.
Dr. Ruth? Could you be like Dr. Ruth and help Kurt with his alcoholism?
Something.
Nah. That's something he has to help himself with, I'm sorry.
Are you saying it's a lost cause?
Kind of like masturbation, right?
Yeah, it's a personal thing. It's like taking a shit, throwing up, masturbating.
Yeah, he does. Too much of that. That's true. Nothing wrong with masturbation, is there, Leon?
Absolutely nothing wrong with it.
See,
Very
it's okay.
healthy.
It is.
Very healthy.
When you do the
Masturbate away, Kurt.
tarot card, leave me alone.
Yes.
We all masturbate in here, right?
Tarot card.
No.
Yes.
Anyone that says they don't is a liar.
I
And
agree.
that's really, really bad.
Oh, I don't know. Go ahead.
What?
It relieves stress.
Yes.
Yes. And
A few other things, but yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
You know that?
Okay. Now we go to this. Do you hear the Titanic sounds, Kurt? Can you hear them now?
Oh,
That's the sound. That's the sound of you being a ridiculous, like you're killing yourself with alcohol, and your body's telling you that you know. I mean, your subconscious is telling you like it. Drowning in alcohol. That's what the Titanic thing is all about. It's not a dream of your past life. It's your subconscious telling you.
I'll have to hear the because I'm not sure.
Well, usually when they're drowning in water, they say it in images and dreams. Usually you're being overwhelmed by something, and it feels out of control.
Maybe that.
Do you think I'm onto something here, Leona?
Yeah, it's symbolism. Our brains work like that anyway. When we dream, especially.
Yeah.
Well, when I used to drink too much, I used to dream about the Titanic too.
Kurt?
When I drink too much, I throw up. So I don't know about you, but there's no dream in there, man.
Yeah. Doctor, yeah. You could be Dr. Ruth, couldn't you? Please.
My feet touch the ground, so like when I sit down. So.
You don't remember that? She was like Dr. Phil before it was done.
Sexual
little weird, man. She's always smiling. She was one of those people that were happy all the time, like even that would smile and giggle every time, even if you told her your dog died. Buckle.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. People like that are people that are too happy all the time like that. They scare me.
Probably on some sort of drugs or something like.
Yeah, or
some kind of methamphetamine.
They're like plastic people, like just plastic people. It's a theory. It's a kind of a thing in my head that I have. There are people that are like
from me. Can I leave now?
Yeah. I'll leave. I'll sit up.
No, it's okay. If you want to leave, thank you very much, sir, for coming.
I want to stay to bother you.
No, Kurt,
you can stay all you want.
I do like your penguin stuff.
Or hee-haw.
Is it okay if Apocalypse sits on your lap, though, for a little while?
Oh.
Kurt, come on. Kurt, consider it.
Come on.
Kurt, don't be like this.
Have an open mind.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Leona, would you consider yourself
better.
bisexual?
What?
Would you consider yourself... bisexual?
Yeah, moon condition. Why?
I'm just curious because I think Kurt has a stigma
lesbian.
about it, and I want him to break free of it. I think it's okay to be gay, and I think this is a
It's okay
calling.
to be- I mean, like I said, everybody's different, and that's good that everybody's different. I wouldn't want everybody the same. That'd be rude.
I agree.
And it's because we're different that what makes us stronger. If we can, just be accepting. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah.
Lots of my friends are gay. My nephew's gay. I don't have a problem with it. They're people.
I don't
You
either.
should
Yeah.
get together with Debbie, girl.
I hang out with my friends. I don't go, oh, by the way, what is your sexual preference?
Yeah.
If they're just my friends, if it's a sexual partner, then that's usually obvious one way or the other.
Yep.
I don't make it. It's just part of like who people are, how people are. It's just part of
I
our
agree.
species or whatever. It's
Yeah.
not a.
Ben is gay. I know that.
I mean, dolphins. Think about this: dolphins are really, really intelligent, and they'll fuck anything.
Yeah. They will.
Ben is the
Yep,
gayest.
and they'll actually gang up on some female or some male,
Lord.
and fucking keep it in bondage while one goes off and does the other thing. I mean, and they don't have a problem with it.
I
Yeah.
like to play with women.
Hey, I mean, there is some control, as like you don't want to force yourself on somebody else. I mean, that's obvious, but I mean, what somebody does, as long as they're not hurting anybody, or the person they are is their thing, I don't give a shit. In
Yeah.
fact, I used to hang out with the gay men all the time. Go out Friday, Saturday night
Yeah.
to the gay bar.
I think,
I felt
this is
safer with
like a
them than
digital
anybody
gay
else.
bar, I think. With us, like me, or
Oh.
we're
Oh.
we're all pretty much single here, and we're lonely, or
Shut up.
so it's fine what we are. I think sexuality is fluid. It can be whatever, and I just wish Kurt was a little bit more accepting.
They think too hard about it. You think
Yeah,
too
Kurt
hard
does.
about it.
I do.
It
I
is what
agree.
it is,
so
and-
gay
and-
too.
If that's what
Really
you want to
is
do
a
at that time,
classic
and that
gay.
other person's, it's nobody's business.
Yeah.
I don't judge anybody by anything like that. I mean, that's just now if somebody
Come
hurts
on,
somebody else.
come
It's
on.
not a judgment on. I just don't like that. I think it's wrong, and I stay away from it.
Snarky answer
Yeah,
the question in my
Try
chat
to
board.
stop somebody from doing it if I can. Other than that, what somebody does,
Yeah.
sexually, that's
Kurt, it's
Here-
okay. It's okay.
I may not want to participate in something they're doing, but that's okay too.
Yeah.
I have a problem with the pissing and the shitting on people. I can't handle that. It's a cleanliness thing for me. So, but it's okay if somebody wants to do that. That's their business.
Just be what you want to be. We die in like 30 years, all of us. We're out
Enjoy
of
it
our
while you're
bodies.
here. We're here. The number one thing
Die one day.
why we're here is to become aware. And the only way we can become aware is to try everything and look at everything and see what and enjoy it.
Boy,
Exactly.
Because in a heartbeat, it will be gone. Find
It's
your
true.
pen
We're
and
at
go
the
for
top
it.
of the hour, everybody. All right. Top of the hour.
Yes.
Yes.
We made it.
From the bottom of the other hour.
And if you're listening on JP Presents, we're at the top of the hour.
JP is a gay man.
Is he?
Only
Lay
for
down your next card, JP.
Kurt is a sissy boy from Arizona.
Oh shit.
That's okay.
Kurt, is that true? Are you a sissy boy from Arizona?
Straight man. Love.
You sure?
Because I remember you said a few things that were sissy boy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was playing.
Do
Not
a
that I'm
lot of
judging.
straight guys like Madonna?
A lot of queers in Arizona.
Willie, don't make fun of Kurt like
You
that.
see, Kurt?
We're just trying to
Why?
have fun.
You see the
Oh, I don't
attention you're bringing to the show? You heathen?
Kurt, please tell me you don't have to work tomorrow.
Come on, heathen. Answer him.
think Kurt has to work tomorrow. I hope not.
Kurt.
Where'd Kurt go?
You are a bum, a loser, a lowlife, and worthless.
Oh, Dr.
Wow.
Phil's here.
All right.
Oh, no.
You're
One thing I hate about Amazon, can't do the price thing. Let me see.
You are a bum, a loser, a lowlife, and worthless.
That's awesome.
Okay.
He's priceless. I can't believe he. Every woman gets called a fucking bitch every day.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
And I earned every letter of it. And that's necessary for my survival.
Well, you gotta sometimes just roll with the punches and just
Yeah,
keep
it's no
walking
big
straight.
deal.
Just don't even look behind you, man.
If it's not true,
Fuck.
what difference is it? Somebody calls you that. It's like a fart in the wind. Fart. It stinks for a minute and then it blows away. It's no big deal.
No big deal. It's true.
Exactly.
Why focus on stuff that you can't control?
And in the grand scheme of things, how important is it? Are you going to be worried about it tomorrow? No. So let it go.
Hello.
It's all
Hello,
bullshit.
Kurt.
It only hurts if you want it, if you let it, or if it's somebody that you really care about.
Snarky. She's my wife.
She's
Get
she's
off
looking hot
her.
right now, man. Now's the
Mr.
time to go get her.
Demon.
Get off her. What were you saying, JP? I'm sorry.
Right now would be the time to get snarky. She's looking good. She's sexy time.
She's my wife.
Uh-oh, I just was looking at the main discussion. Oh boy.
How do I sound?
Wolfman sending out subliminal messages.
How do I sound?
Bug Trout Green?
Well, you don't sound too bad, Mr. Devil or Mr. Demon.
Only they weren't too subtle.
That's a hot
you
chick. Fucking Willie.
What are you doing? Oh,
Hey, Kurt, do you like a
Sunday
picture
Express.
of what's his face there? Her face? Think that's a hot chick in there? Kurt?
Kurt, you into this chick?
Yeah. The chick with the shades right there. Don't you think
who's
she's
that?
cute?
Yeah, who's that?
Do you think she's cute?
I think his hat says
Oh, my
bigger.
God.
I mean, her hat
The
says
drag
bigger.
queen, though.
Oh, you think she's cute though, right?
You
Kurt?
are
Would you have sex with her, Kurt? Like let's say you guys were dating. Oh, okay. Relationship with that person. I mean, don't you think she's cute?
Wolfman would.
Well, no, I'm not.
Huh.
Are you attracted?
you are a bum.
It was
a
a
loser,
man
lowlife, and
with
worthless.
glasses.
That's not a man. Guys don't have long hair like that.
Oh, why am I 20 people of 8 billion? You're all gay. Damn. Quit being gay. Stop it. 8 billion people. And you 20 gay and bisexual nuts.
Gay and bisexual nuts.
Quit it.
Quit being gay.
Do better.
You better quit being gay.
Oh my God, look at that girl. Oh,
Look at that girl.
oh Father. I've got to get my.
Listen to how he talks
Oh,
about women in
Chinese.
disgust.
Enough. I'll be
Clearly,
back to you nuts.
clearly,
Figure
gay.
things out better with your lives. My God.
I'm coming for you, Kurt.
He's one of them handsome kind of women.
I think the demon's following him. I knew that would happen.
Funny.
They prey upon drunk people. Like, he'll go home and have a Titanic dream and then probably get possessed by Mr. Demon.
Or he'll join the ones underneath in silence.
That's right.
Kurt, admit the moon landings were faked and all will be forgiven.
That's all we have to do.
Song in the background.
Is that Kurt's tattoo?
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Kurt, you know what happens, when he gets really drunk, eh? And he tries to think?
He goes silent.
I think, but nothing happens.
Nothing happens. Very frustrating. I never have. Okay, guys, what are we doing next? Are we going to talk more lunar anomaly?
Lunar.
Is that a picture of the Mona Lisa or Jimmy?
Don't blame me for your
gayness. Kurt,
Kurt, you're gay?
don't blame you. Don't blame you for my gayness. Sorry, I blame you.
champao chicken and broccoli beef.
Is that gay code again?
Kung Pao chicken. Okay.
No, I'm gay, Kurt.
Oh,
It's
so
okay to
gay.
Is it okay to be gay,
Gay.
Kurt, or no?
It's
I
okay
still
to
haven't
be
figured
gay.
out.
But I'm not.
Is it okay for us to be gay?
Is it?
Whatever you will all be dead in 30, 20, 30
You didn't
years.
answer that,
Oh,
man.
man.
It doesn't matter.
Well, that's why I'm asking you, because you have a bit about the gays.
It's good to be gay.
It is.
Gayness.
Hey,
It's Kurt Pride Day.
whatever you want to do.
Everybody's welcome to wear all their colorful clothes in celebration of that celebration.
Absolutely. Very nice.
Hey, where I live, that's half.
Oh, you're in San Francisco?
Right, a little north of San Francisco. The wine.
You'd think if there was a God, he'd maybe give that place a big earthquake, So, so maybe God's not always right. Okay.
We have lots of earthquakes, but they, we have
well, yeah.
It's always right.
Hey, the fucking San Andreas Fault is. I'm 2 blocks away from it.
Oh my God! Fuck that. That's scary.
No, not really.
Aren't you guys expecting a huge one soon?
No.
Oh.
Up north, maybe further.
Uh-oh.
Did you?
Hey, no matter where you live, there's always some natural disaster that it's prone to. So
Even here.
earthquakes, unless the ground liquefies, that's not the right kind of fault line for that to happen, really. Too often, or you live in a dodgy area, or you go under the, like your skyscraper. And I don't live in any of those. I had an earthquake. The biggest thing that would get me is if the ground opened up and I fell through. That's going to happen.
Leon, for you.
Yeah.
A lot of pot like me.
Yes.
You do.
What do you make? Brownies or what?
Oh, I make all sorts of things. See, I've made cookies, brownies, candy. What was the last time I made? Because I use them to sleep sometimes. I made a lemon milkshake, and I had that drizzle frosting on top of it, and I had raspberry stuff in the middle of it. It was really good.
Okay, listen, we got somebody on the line. They want to ask you a question too. This is for Leona.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Question for you.
Okay.
Is it an orange?
The fuck?
I believe he said is it an orange?
Is it in orange? What's in orange? Do I live in orange?
Now me ask another question.
No.
Is it cookie?
Is it Cookie? Cookie Monster.
That's Wolfman.
Yeah,
Pretending to be somebody
yeah, I
else.
get it. Cookie Monster. Cookie Monster.
So
Have cookies.
Yes, I make cookies too.
do you?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Don't think you have any more cookies. They're gone now. Cookie Monster, you're going to be stoned tonight. Okay, yeah, that was silly.
My daughter's boyfriend brought to the house trimming pot. He brought me the finger hash from the glove. Looked like a big huge milk dud. He brought me 2 or 3 of them. So I took one of them and I used all that with some keef and some cookies,
Nice.
the brownies with the cookies in them, on the top.
Nice.
Yeah, they were good.
Oops.
I get the house to myself for the weekend. The kids are leaving to go to San Francisco and hang out.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you have kids there still.
No, I know. I have my daughter and her daughter live here and then her boyfriend has a son, and he sort of lives here on and off. I have a 3-bedroom house and stuff, and I live on a half an acre, so there's plenty of room. And because my daughter just went through a divorce and stuff. Just my only family so left. So.
Where's Willie? Say something, Willie.
Well, I have a brother and sister, but I'm not acceptable. I'm not rich.
So they don't like you or what?
I'm not well liked in my family. That's for sure.
And I'm the youngest, and there's a lot of age difference between my brother, sister, and I. I don't look like anybody else, like my brother or sister at all. Most people don't even like my brother. Both and sister have black hair, green and brown eyes. I have lighter brown hair to blonde hair with blue eyes. So
Think you have the same father, or was there
we have
something
the same
going on?
we had the same father, same mother. My parents were married 65 years before my dad passed away. So my mom was married to my dad since she was 14. So, and she didn't have kids till she was 18. So I got a different part of the gene pool. No, I look I have the blue eyes, came from my Italian grandfather, but I'm the only short one. Everybody else is average to tall. I'm short.
Not my oldest brother had the different father. My mom was fooling around with some.
I'm a lot. Dad, you can tell that I'm a combination. My dad, my mom had me. I was kind of like an F.
Aw.
No, it was like they were gonna have me, and then my dad got really sick, and they told him to wait, and so they waited. And my mom was like 35, and she thought that was it. They weren't gonna have him, but he talked her into it. So I was Dad's favorite, probably. But why my brother and sister didn't like me, but I don't know.
Have your mother and dad say, "Curtis, you were a mistake." That was in my childhood. Yeah.
Not as parents go. As parents go, they had their weird quirks, but as parents go, I had a really good set of parents.
Yeah.
I mean, I never would. Like I said, comparatively, my parents were in the 95 to 100 percentile.
Wow.
They were good. They were
Rare.
good. They were good people. A little bit on the quirky side, but good people.
Oh, that's good.
You know, and I can, that's what blessings in my life. I guess I'm grateful for. I probably
This
wasn't.
was a mistake. I shouldn't have been.
If you were a mistake, you wouldn't exist.
I know, but for them to say that out of their mouth, and my poor little
Well, some of my
mess
best
of
work is,
child.
when I do art, some of my mistakes is my best work. So
Me
That's
too.
true.
it's
Those
when
are
you.
mistakes.
It's only things are only a mistake if it's it's what you do about it afterwards, or what anybody does about it afterwards.
It was just sad to
I
hear
like
them say that to me.
You start a painting, it's not working out the way you want it to, and then you just kind of wing it and just go with it, and it ends up the coolest one ever.
What happens to me is I'm trying to draw something, and there's I can't think of the mistake. So I try to fix the mistake, and it's like, oh fuck, I boogered it up. So then I start staring at it, and all of a sudden the painting that I thought I was going to be drawing, it changes. Because see, when I draw, and it's a weird thing, I can look at a piece of paper and see the picture that isn't there. And when if I'm in the zone, I start drawing, and it's like the line. I'm basically tracing what's there already. It's like I see the pin. Then I'm just following And sometimes when I'm trying to fix the mistake, I'll sit back, oh fuck it, I'm gonna throw it away, and suddenly all of a sudden this whole other part of the painting opens up. So then I start drawing and then following it, and then when I sit back, it's a whole. I'm going, God, did I do that? That's really good. How did I do that?
God helping you.
And 10 minutes later, I can't draw a straight line. It's something,
And God always used the black sheep. If I was a mistake, God used all through the Bible, whether Noah, a drunk, whether Moses, an angry man, whether David killed people, So I'm glad to be a mistake.
Well, think of it this way.
Glad to be a mistake.
There's a saying in the Bible that always has struck me when I was a kid.
I'm a mistake.
Is God makes his power in our weakness. When he chooses somebody like that, it's their weakness is their strength. Because usually when people are weak in something, if they really want to do it, they work really hard at it. And it usually becomes something that they do they do well. And so his power is made in our weakness. So
God plucks out the weakest to make his will be done. He does.
But they're not really weak. Because
not weak, but I'm saying,
what standard are they? Is it by God's standard that you're weak, or is it by human beings' standards that you're weak?
Black sheep. God plucks out the black sheep. Everybody hates.
Well, most of the time it's because they're actually jealous of them, or it's a reflection of something that they want to be.
Always use the black sheep.
Yep, that's me.
Through. Me too. Oh, I'll ball.
But you know what? It's one thing. Maybe I am, and I had to do, but it hurts me. But then it makes me want to be. I stopped apologizing to myself. The only reason why they're that way and they lash out at you is either they're jealous or they're disappointed that it's not what they would do in your position. But that doesn't make you a bad person.
Oh.
What other people think does not define you. And who you are. Nobody really knows who you are except you and your maker, basically. And judge anybody. I can just that they're doing I approve of or like at all.
Is what you come from
and good and bad is subjective. So I try to not be. I forgive the person as a human being because I've done probably the same kinds of things, same kind of energy to one level or another. It doesn't matter whether it's small or big, a lot, the same kind of energy in some life. So, but I can not forget their actions right now.
Yes.
and discern for myself whether that's something I want in my little world. Because basically, this is my coloring book and my crayons. I can put in it whatever I want.
As
we all
when
have our
the Lord
talents.
chooses us as let me say, how would you say on Christmas?
Co-create
the
things.
land of the
We do things in unison.
the land of the what was it? The land.
The land of I don't know. People. Everybody always says, this guy got born with more money, or this person got born with smarter. But everybody has a genius, and some people's genius. And what I mean by genius is everybody has a thing that they're there for, and they can do it really well. Even people that are like disabled or like vegetables, you don't think they're giving anything back, but they're teaching people empathy by being, that's their genius. And at that genius level, that's where everybody gets equalized. It don't matter where you come from, what you do. Somebody's genius may be they're good at listening. And that's just as important as smarts, or somebody that can inspire other people, or somebody that, like, say, somebody who's a real that's really good at being a mother, just really good at it. Those people that's naturally good at it. Most people have to learn, or in that it's their example. And
I'm a misfit. Land of the misfit bunch.
Even the people that make mistakes, somebody like Hitler, in his mind, helping his country, although kind of diluted on the way to do it, and a little bit, weird, but nonetheless in his mind. But those are people, the example of what not to be, because you just have to look at it. It's not a mistake. It's a way of learning, or seeing something from a different perspective. You have to watch me. I don't.
Land of the misfit toys. Remember that?
No, I've never seen that before. I have no idea what you're talking
about. Yes, I am a misfit in my family.
You're the misfit. You are the misfit.
I am a square wheel train. But my Lord uses me.
Hey, broken toys are good. Kurt, broken toys are good. Love broken toys. Look past the broken.
I'm not in the box.
I may be weird, but at least I'm entertaining. That's what I always tell my daughter all the time.
She's so good. I love this lady, whoever she is.
She is the lioness.
Land of the misfit toys. Remember that?
Yeah, land of the misfit toys. Just because you're a broken toy doesn't mean that you're not loved, Kurt. We love you, brother.
Are you a New York broken toy?
What do they have, Lennon? They had a shot out jelly, something like that.
Oh, Curtis. You're the elf that wants to be a dentist.
Oh, that's it. Yes, the dentist.
Right.
Dennis. Yeah. La 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 la.
They found
you should do the Smurf.
They found that one. He pulled his teeth. See?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
and in fact, on my front door for Christmas, I had the abominable snowman from that cartoon stuck on the thing, and the little elf. It's supposed to go on the window, but you couldn't see it from our window, so I stuck it on the front door for Christmas.
Yeah, that little dentist guy was my.
So that's a metaphor that you want to become a dentist, and there'll be a giant in your life, and then you pull his teeth, and then he become a big old giant with no teeth, right?
Yeah. Give him dentures.
Can you find my bag?
Implant.
Over that show. I saw that new. I'm so old. I saw the first episode when that happened. You saw reruns. I saw the first fucking episode.
I used to love.
Old.
I used to love cartoons when I was a kid, man.
How funny this is. Oh, we have to die soon. We have to die, Wolfman. Die like when I die.
Kurt, how dare you?
Eat the show, dude.
There you go, Kurt. I'm gonna send a drawing of mine into the main discussion.
Oh my lord!
My lord!
What is that?
Oh my lord! I know, man. That guy needs a freaking see a guy, a fucking eye doctor guy. Eye doctor guy, man.
All right.
Poor Kurt. You know, I know what it feels like to be a mistake. No, I feel sorry for you. Like that your parents told you that you were a mistake.
That's not. Like that wasn't necessary, man.
Agree.
I know. You know, even you. Like,
man, agree.
I agree, man. That's horrible.
Agreed. That was a mistake. That is
no. I was told. I said I feel really bad that your parents told you that. That's what I said.
Agree, right?
No, I don't agree with it. Damn, I don't know.
Mistake, they said.
What? How old were you? How old were you when they told you that?
4.
Oh God, that's horrible.
I know.
Man. And you remember that?
Yes, very clear.
Did you have to make your own food, Kurt? Like when you were like 5, like in kindergarten, did you have to pack your own lunch?
No, they made food for me. There you go.
So they fed you.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not too bad.
It's a good deal.
They fed you.
That was a mistake. Yes.
But you know, hey, I guess they learned from their mistake. So they overcome their mistake.
I'm here.
Happened to be the byproduct.
Lay off cocaine there,
byproduct, Kurt. Because it's their mistake doesn't mean that you're a mistake.
I'm a mistake.
No, man.
I'm a mistake.
The Lord came upon me the one time when I was so fucking
you are, man. You are what you think you are.
I am just a mistake. I am
a mistake.
I'm born though, so I'm here.
I was born under a bad sun.
They just fucked it too much, so they made another baby.
I feel your pain, brother.
I was.
I feel your pain.
They told me even driving one day, you were conceived in Coolidge, Arizona. I'm like, well, thank you. You need to know that. So
they were at least they were upfront and honest about it, right?
Mom, don't tell me that.
But they told me you're 4 years old. They said, Kurt, you're a mistake. The school knowing you're a mistake.
Yes.
Love you, brother. Son.
I should like go to sleep now. Get a pillow.
So simple. You can give me nice. Well,
it looks like we just got crashed, man.
Just cry.
I'm trying to figure that out. Why does it keep crashing on me, man?
Just being.
Oh, this computer's really fucking hot. I don't know. It might be because the computer's overheating. I don't know. There might be something. I don't think I'm going to start another. That's good enough, man. We're done. It crashed. We're done.
Oh, but
we can still chat in here, but I'm not going to start it again.
I'm still going.
We'll say in Discord, but you won't have enough.
Kurt, you can. Anybody who wants to keep talking, it's still being recorded. So up to you.
I don't know why that crashed again. I have a feeling my computer, the fan might not be working.
Don't give up.
You're just heating it all up, man, over there. That's what you're doing.
Well, I don't. I with my headphones on, I can't tell whether it.
Yeah.
You usually hear the fan turn on. If my fan is broken in that computer, that would make sense.
My laptops, I had to always have it up above, have it airflow underneath. Because it was the fan was working and it needed airflow.
Yeah, that's exactly. You still needed airflow even with the fan working.
Yeah,
I propped it up on something. I had a fan running behind it, but it was making noise, so I shut the fan off, and boom,
I had these little screen things that you put cookies.
That's what I'm using
on my laptop. I just stuck it underneath until it died.
That's what I'm doing too. I did that too, and it's still overheated.
That's weird. I think it might need a bigger fan or just a new one.
Well, I have a fan behind it that I think the fan might not be working or something. I don't know. Yeah. If the fan's not working at all, that would make sense.
How old is the computer?
It's not that old. It's not that old at all. This one.
Because usually, like 3 or 4 years, you might as well fix it.
Yeah. Probably going to move to a different kind of. I'm probably going to get a tower or something.
If I'm around, if it's it has a printer on it, and I'm around, or they don't like me.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. Why does it keep crashing on me? That's fucking weird. I wasn't doing anything with the computer at all.
Yeah, you were.
Hey, I had.
Oh wait, yeah.
They were.
I was going.
Crash.
Okay, I was surfing around
and everything.
I was browsing. I was browsing on the thing while I was broadcasting, but I'm only using one encoder, and I was only just looking at web pages while I was broadcasting. That should not be enough to make it crash.
No, not at all.
No fucking way.
Not at all.
So no, I wasn't downloading anything. I wasn't I know when you download stuff and you're broadcasting that you can crash it. But I was not downloading anything.
Downloading is a different thing.
All I was doing was browsing the chat rooms. That should not have crashed it.
No, not at all.
So it's something else. It's got to be mechanical. And it's really hot.
Either that or your motherboard. There's something in your motherboard starting to go out.
No, it's a laptop that I'm using.
Oh, really?
That's what. Yeah, I'm just using a laptop.
There's Willie. He posted a picture of him finally.
No, it's at one time when it crashed. I saw it. It said something about overheating on the screen just before it crashed.
I had this little some weird brand that I had, and then I had a really nice one. The weirdest part is they were, like I said, they were less than a year old. Now the smaller one, I traveled with that, so that could have gotten from going to the tropics and stuff and getting shuffled around and shit. But the other one was like brand new, and it was a really good one, and it lasted me less than a year. And when it crashed, both of them crashed. They were unplugged from the wall, they were shut off, and they sat there for 3 months. And when they turned it back on, they both crashed. They both just crashed for no apparent reason. I even had my daughter's boyfriend's stepdad has that's what he does for a living. Does computers and stuff, and he took it and he goes, he'd never seen anything like that. Did you have it plugged in? I said, no, they neither one of because I always unplug them. I always feel weird that somebody, I've had somebody fucked with me before, and they got into my computer and were watching me in my house. It was a weird thing. And so I got a little, I don't like things looking at me, that I don't know. And so, because like I said, I've had that happen to me. And so I couldn't figure out, still can't figure it out. And he couldn't figure it out. And he'd been doing it for, 20 some odd years. And he says, the information was still on there, but just like everything.
Yeah, that can happen. But in this case, I'm looking at it, and it doesn't really. This thing doesn't have a big.
It might just need a bigger fan
inside. There's no grill on it where the fan usually is on the bottom of a laptop.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I don't think I've ever heard it make any noise like a fan. I don't think there is a fan in it. I think that's what I got to do is I got to I have a little fan behind it, but it was making fucking noise.
Yeah, you guys got to install the one next to it. The brand, what kind of laptop is it?
It's just a small one. It's a notebook one.
Yeah.
Broadcast.
There's not a lot of power in some of the notebooks.
Yeah, it's probably just not designed to be on for that long.
No,
and I just got to keep it cool. I probably just have to I gotta mount something to the wall behind it or something because I can't have the fan on the same desk table as that. It makes noise through my microphone.
Yeah,
somehow.
Yeah. It's the white noise. Vibration comes through.
Because it's the same table. My microphone stand. My microphone stand is attached to that table, so I can't have the fan on it. I had to move it, and then it crashed. So I think hopefully I'll just mount something behind it there. Yeah. Put the fan on a different table or something. I think I know what to do.
I know, I had one that did that, and it was a smaller laptop. And I went and took it to a place, and the guy actually got a little teeny fan and basically installed it in the case there was enough room, and it worked like a charm. Because I was having a problem with that, and it would and I wouldn't be on it that long, and I wasn't doing. All I was doing was typing letters and stuff, I was doing bookkeeping and crap for my parents' business. They had bought it. The company had bought it, and I'm going, God, this is a fuck. And it was easier for me to have a laptop to do it on because I could do it on the road. Because I was also a property manager for the real estate company, managed like 250 properties by myself, and so I was doing stuff on the run. So I'd be in the car a lot, so I'd type and stuck in the fucking office so somebody could get a hold of me, complain about a toilet or something.
Yeah, like you guys can't hear the fan there, but I can hear it in my headphones. So that music goes out.
That would annoy me. I don't like that when there those little weird sad background sounds that.
Yeah, it sounds fucked. I'll figure something out.
Computer or bigger.
I might have to. I just have to mount my microphone on a different table or something. The one beside it there. That would probably fix the problem. And then it won't pick up the noise too much then. Because I know when I have that fan on it, it seems to help. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know, I'm going to try it again next time. But yeah, I've even had the fan on before and it's crashed though. I don't know why it's doing that.
There's no grill or anything underneath or on the back that would let the air in or out or heat out.
In the bottom, in the back where it heats up. That's because
no, that doesn't make. It's just a book probably.
That's what I'm starting to think.
Some. I had a friend in Hawaii. His phone it would just die of these most weird. I said, "What brand is it?" It was some weird brand. I swear to God, I had never pretty weird phone, and it was like this Polish, Russian.
Well, there you go. Looks like our show here JP Presents is winding down. And I wanted to test something out really quick before I dropped off for the night. Just going to go over to YouTube. No video in particular. I'm basically going to close my eyes. Let's see if unless something pops out at me right away. Let's see. All right. This guy's kind of a trip, and I want to play it just because it's really not that I think you're necessarily going to hear the video, but I hope you do. I'm actually just testing on some audio, and I want to see if I did it right. Also, this guy happens to be a trip, so let's hear his story. It's kind of weird.
Aloha. My name is Breath. 3 years ago, I was kidnapped by the government and pumped full of LSD intravenously. My mind was then electrocuted and my brain was manipulated under a program called MK Ultra. After many, many months of therapy, I'm finally able to recall these events, and I've come to a place in my mind where I'm able to talk about these events and hopefully gain some clarity. I would like to share that not only was this a horrific moment, but it also led to me being stuck in a permanent trip, which has been the greatest blessing so far of my life. Please enjoy my story. Aloha. This is where my story begins. All of my memories go back to the one place, the one forest, waterfalls, and an electric blue ocean. My story starts here because all my memories start here. It was here that I finally recovered from my 10,000 hit LSD trip. This LSD experience was forcefully injected into me by government officials representing a program called MK Ultra. After many months of therapy, I'd like to try explain to the best of my ability what I went through. Please listen.
I apologise that I'm not been on the internet. I've had an extreme 3-month urine therapy and 3-month social therapy to reclaim my memories of what happened before the beach.
It was inside of this cave on this beach where I laid for 4 months in the fetal position, throwing up, tortured by the demonic voices inside of my head. I'd like to explain to you in my own words what that felt like. This is only after therapy. Thank you. Please listen.
Once I started fading back into a awakened, semi-conscious state, I constantly had a voice echoing in my head. The voice would say things to me like this: put down the books, pick up your balls, real men shoot, heroin! This would echo over and over again in my mind, constantly. I then had another voice of equal aggressiveness, and it would tell me things like, the second voice was, like I said, equally aggressive, and it would say things that were more personal. It started saying things like, you've been fucked since the second trimester when your mother was getting high on drugs. You were drunk and high and fucked up in the uterus. It would say those things on repeat over and over again. It wasn't until one day when I was curled up in a fetal position that a fruit fell from a tree called a noni tree, a noni fruit, and I was curled in the fetal position, but this noni was able to penetrate through my legs and my arms, and it landed and with such velocity right onto my gonad region, and this snapped me out of somewhat of a state, and I was actually a therapist that was aggressive. It was some kind of divine help. Are in your body. The parasites are in your body and they need to come out. You need to stop eating. And then it was a combined three-way conversation with the demon telling me that my mother was getting me high and drunk in the uterus. The other demonic voice, telling me to shoot heroin, and then I had this friendly voice telling me that my body was riddled with parasites. My body was riddled with parasites. Next was the itch. Demonic itch all over my body. It felt like I had parasites all over my body. And these parasites were combined with the voice. I knew that voice was telling me I had parasites in my body and they needed to go. And they felt as if they were crawling through my skin, crawling under my skin. A demonic itch all over my body. And I knew I had to do something. So I started listening to the great divine voice. And I decided then and there that the only thing I would eat would be the noni fruit that landed on my gonads, and I would meditate, and I would only eat noni, and I would find to my dismay that the other two voices, after 2 weeks of doing this, those two demonic voices left. The only voice that was left was the divine voice, and I had rid my body completely of parasites. And I was then able to transition from only eating noni to only drinking water from the river, creek, straight from the source. It was after then I started to get fully functioning ability of my body. First to come back was the erection function, and then after that my mental function, my whole body function. I was told that if I fapulated once, that all of the internal parasites would come back. So I strictly a no fap, and that's pretty much how I got to where I am now, where I don't need to eat, and I don't need to sleep, I don't need to drink, and I am forbidden to fapulate.
Stop fapulating.
So I hope that that makes some sense to you guys.
Okay, so this guy was fapulating.
Aloha. So this is one of the spots where I would bathe.
But then he stopped fapulating because of the great divine voice.
And drink for 3 months without the food.
And decided that since the noni fruit had, with such velocity, landed right beside his gonads, that he would only eat the noni fruit for a diet.
Coming back here, really, it really brings me back. None of these areas am I able to share with you, unfortunately, because of my whereabouts needs to stay disclosed. And it's a very, very beautiful and harmonious piece of ocean. Beautiful beach. I don't like to come out here too often because, like I said, it can bring back flashbacks, and I need to stay away from any flashback-inducing state-dependent cue, my psychologist told me, because we don't want to have another episode. Okay. Thank you. Aloha.
All right. That's definitely one of the best trolls I've ever heard in my life. Guy's great. If you ever want to hear it, let me know. I'll forward you the link over to this. He's a breatharian, by the way. Not a vegetarian, not a vegan. He's a breatharian. Which means he lives on air, breathing. He's a breatharian. Oh, yeah. That's definitely one of my favorite trolls. There was a great video, and now I'm not getting any feedback because nobody's here right now. So hopefully you're able to hear. You were able to hear that video. But I'm going to try one more video, maybe more. We'll see. Calm down. And it's between two guys I really admire. So I'm going to play you some of this really, it was an hour-long talk between two really great guys with a whole lot of amazing things to share with people. So please have a listen. I'm going to play some of it, and I'll be back in a few minutes.
Straight up, like you said, the camera at the back, and the little bit of filtering that I use is the X-ray filtering, which is basically 99% the inversion. It's just changing the surface colors of different areas. What's dark becomes bright, and what's bright becomes darker, or tones and colors. But an amazing view. But I'm noticing these little things going by, and they can't all be satellites. But I can only see them when I slow down the footage. I'm not seeing any UFOs on the surface unless I slow it down at all. You see blinks of light and stuff like that, but there's something up there, you know. I haven't even gotten a UFO between Earth and the moon yet with a telescope. I've never showed one, you know. And with the smaller telescope, I was getting so many UFOs between Earth and the moon. But now, for some reason, either they stopped zooming around, but I'm pressed up on the surface and I see them. And obviously, since I'm so close, I'm probably not seeing the ones that are around the moon, because I'm, you know, the light, you know how the telescope works when you get off the moon. Well, you just lose that image and it gets very bright unless the whole telescope is on the surface. And like you say, with the full moon, we don't get much on the full moon. So it's a cool story. You said that you actually got it during the full moon when the moon was wider, because the same here, you know, you try to film the moon and you don't hardly see anything. It's just so darn bright. So.
Well, you've got to, at that point, you've got to, you know, you're not going to use auto settings on the camera. You're going to crank down your ISO and your aperture and things like that. Then a scope your size will be able to look, because without a filtering system, I know exactly where you're coming, but you can deal with it with manual settings. But yeah. I'll add this. As time when I first started doing this and filming all the time, I was perfectly ready to accept satellites, and I was even looking at all the tools that project, because I wanted to film one crossing the moon. And so all these times there was a transit, and I'd be out there, and nothing would happen. So as I began to look into it, I began to realize a number of things about satellite, which is why I say now satellites do not exist as they're described. Don't accept them. Now, there's tons of these little black round things, which I'm sure you must have filmed. If you haven't, you will. They're almost like balloons. And I've always wondered, I consider it all human technology, everything that I've filmed, and I'll explain why in a second. But there are these little black round things that almost look like balloons. They're at different levels and heights, and they're up there all the time. And many people have filmed them. Richard 205 Maria in New York, New Jersey, Randy in Houston, other people who had good, solid scope equipment and camera confirmed that these little black round things that I've posted, so many of them are up there all the time. I suspect that's human technology doing maybe what satellites do or something else. But here was my breakthrough moment. I was minding my own business one day, kind of like when YouTube flagged your video and put my name on it. and I found out that the Huffington Post had taken one of my clips and ran it in the Huffington Post, and then had an FBI expert and of all people, the head of MUFON, claim this is clearly a satellite in half geosynchronous orbit that Crow has filmed, and clearly he doesn't understand his tools. And by then I'd had enough. So, and I'll give you this tip right now. There's a place in Oceanside, California called Oceanside Photo and Telescope, OPT Online, one of the best scope shops, one of the biggest left in the country. There's a guy there who is an optics expert. So I'd had enough of these guys bad-mouthing me in their newspaper with FBI. I don't know what the FBI would know about anything, but they get an FBI expert in the head of MUFON. So we go to calculate my exact Schmidt-Cassegrain with my exact DSLR to figure out physically what the width of a pixel geosynchronous, which is 11,000 miles.
Comes down.
So 20 miles, and there's film something. So we do all the calculations, and I take the object, and I forget what it was across. Even tripixels had to be reduced. I told you I was using a 100E. There's no dithering. So I even subtracted a couple pixels. I do the calculation, and the object would have had to be something like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times the size of the ISS if they were right. And I did this with a number of my things. And as I began to understand, and I got a new system, and the same guy, optics expert at OPT, helped me calculate exactly those values, I began to realize that everything I filmed was much closer, and in my view, all human technology. And I think you and I might differ a little there, but that's how I arrived, partially how I arrived at where I am.
No, I mean, I am so, that's amazing, by the way, all the way up to Huffington Post, because they do that, eh? They can grab your stuff and just post it. But, you know, we may not be that different as you think, because I'm telling you, I really have an open mind to many things. And I have in my head both sides. What we're seeing up there is not necessarily all alien, and maybe none of it is. And that I will never rule it out. And you're saying that it could be all human and all high technology from us, like military or whatnot, secret societies, anything.
I hope you're hanging in there. We're going to continue playing some more of this great interview between Crow and Bruce Sees All. Check it out.
I would believe that. I would believe that 100%. I'm not going to rule that out. And it could be very well true also, because it's easy for them to say, wow, they're going to think it's aliens, and we're going to, you know, be able to freely roam around. We'll even come and abduct a couple people once in a while, take them away. You know, it's real. But I remain open-minded, and I respect a lot of the researches that you're doing, and a lot of other people are doing, for sure.
So one of the most amazing things, or not amazing, but one of the most inexplicable things that I filmed was when I was doing the chemtrail work all the way back when absolutely no one would accept that chemtrails were a real thing. I kept seeing all these things they call orbs, and they were always around chemtrails. So finally one day, my wife yells at me, "Hey man, get out here. There's orbs all over these low chemtrails." We could see them with our eyes, which was unusual. A lot of times we filmed and we didn't know until we reviewed the film, but we could see, we knew they were there, tons of them. So I picked one with a handheld shot with a 16 megapixel Canon T2i of all things and a 35 millimeter lens. And I'm sitting there watching the one that I just chose to watch. All these things are flying through frames. This cotton candy crap is falling out of the sky. And my wife's yelling at me, honey, you got to get the scope out. And I'm thinking, God, I want to get the scope out, but by the time I film it, I'll miss all this. So I was afraid. I was afraid to put the camera down. So I'm filming it, and lo and behold, the damn thing shoots like 2 plasma beams out of the orb into the chemtrail. And to me, that's posted. It's called The Shooting Orb on my channel. But for the longest time, I was wrestling, what the hell is this? And so to cut to the chase here, in my view, this is human tech, and not maybe a year and a half, 2 years after I had filmed The Shooting Orb, a guy, and I don't even think his channel's up anymore, sent me footage from, I think it was Oahu, where the skies are really clear, and he filmed a military plane dropping what looks exactly like orbs. And I thought, that's interesting. And it wasn't identical, but close enough where it got me thinking. Yeah. But from my point of view, anyone who goes and looks at the shooting orb will be thinking, damn, what the heck is that? I mean, I shot it, and I still to this day think, what the heck is that? But to me, for anything to ever be alien, I mean, it would have to be one astounding piece of footage, and I don't know what it would have to have. It would have to have something really going for it for me to consider that anymore, because of the amount of research Jason and I have done, where basically places like Tavistock claim the modern alien agenda. We've gone through the documents and everything, but you should check it out. I'll send you a link after this to the shooting orb.
I appreciate that.
Another thing is, you got a big ass 14-inch scope, and I got to the point where I could take my 11 and by hand, with just the hand controls going on, I could track a chem plane if the trajectory was right. Your 14-inch scope on chemtrails, if you ever shot an orb, man, you might be able to look in the window and tell us what they really are.
That's awesome, man. And I'm going to take your suggestion on it. You just intrigued me so much talking about orbs, because I didn't know, of course, you have a lot of research. I'm going to have to go through a lot to find out everything you've gotten. But listen, I've gotten daytime orbs right here in Montreal, Quebec. And I've come to the understanding that some areas, these objects are frequent. Like, I don't know, where exactly were you when you were filming this, Crow? Whereabouts are you?
San Diego. And as I first started to do it, they were frequent. And as time went on, it became very difficult to catch anything. But I have a lot of daytime footage. There's a lot of weird, I don't even care if there's no orbs. Anyone who points a camera up, a good camera during the day, and does it, an hour or two regularly, you're going to catch things.
For sure. For sure. No, I really appreciate you sharing that. That's incredible. And it's so interesting. You also talk about them shooting out something, because you see, I have these orbs. I was describing them as shooting out other orbs. Like, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, or maybe it's not the same kind of event. But that's really intriguing me, because it looked like a yo-yo. It would swing around, come out, and go back into the center of the light that was coming out. And of course, this was all happening so bloody fast. It was so hard to slow it down, but I did. And I showed 1 or 2 videos of that. And you see that the orb is spitting out other orbs. That's all I can say, is that it's spitting them out. But I don't know, that was intriguing to me. So those orbs, it's an energy, So yeah, it could be intelligence. It could be human intelligence, of course. But I mean, they got this down pat. If it's human intelligence.
Well, I can add this. The one, if you go look at the shooting orb clip, and there's a couple versions of it up on my channel, it drops into the chemtrail from up above. And meanwhile, by the way, I know I'm filming. This is not one of those cases where you're reviewing footage and you go, whoa, what's that? I mean, we knew we were doing it. So the chemtrail was being pushed to the south by the wind, and the orb comes into the chemtrail angling to the north. And as it gets into the chemtrail, it changes its trajectory and goes against the wind, totally to the north. But as you're mentioning what you filmed with orbs, it almost like, if I wanted to describe someone in a sensible way, what it looks like, it could almost be like static electricity. Like if you have an electrified body and a spark jumps off of it. And what you're describing too, it's almost like that. But
you said cotton candy too. So right off the bat, I related to that. It's just this a white smudge, but the smudge is perfect, if you know what I mean. It's right. It's smudging, but it's bright, and it's remaining its shape. It's keeping its shape. It's just like continuously blurring itself somehow. And it's not the sun. Sometimes you look at these orbs and you go, it's not the sun that's doing that. It's just they're reflecting themselves. Seems like they're reflecting themselves. I don't know.
So check this out. There's another piece of footage on my channel where It was, my wife had gotten up significantly earlier, and when we were in San Diego, it was very easy for me to get my scope out, and I had to have a surgery and stuff, so I still got a little more to go before I can haul out my honkin' 11. I don't know how you deal with your 14 because
sore backs, man. The backs are saying.
Yeah, it's dangerous because you don't want to drop anything and you can't touch the tube or you'll mess up your tracking. But anyhow,
right.
My wife, I come out and she's all, man, I've been waiting for you to get up. Look. And she points due east, and there is a big old honking orb just sitting there. And she's got my camera out, and she's had one of the cameras on it. So I go get the better camera. That thing sat there for hours until the chemtrails covered it up. But what you can notice about it, if you look at the footage, is the lighting is not constant and it's not perfectly round either. But that is a hell of a good piece of footage if those are the same things. Sometimes it feels like the orbs that are around chemtrails are like perfectly round, but you don't know how far away from them you are. This thing was just barely drifting. And I mean, I was getting out all my tools to see if there was a tether holding it to the ground or something. That's how stationary it was. But it wasn't. It was an orb, and eventually the chem planes covered it up. But I've got fantastic footage of that thing sitting in one spot for hours.
That's incredible, eh? And you say that it's all over the world, all these sightings and stuff like that. And why the orbs, you know? There's so many things that we don't know about. Maybe the orbs have nothing to do with the UFOs, or maybe the UFOs are the orbs, or...
I don't think they're UFOs. I think it's human tech, and I think it has directly to do with the chemtrails. The chemtrails is a global thing, and I go so far, weather isn't even forecast anymore. It's scheduled. That's the way I view it. I'll tell you another thing. There was another piece of footage I shot that got picked up partially to being a public figure, and I shouldn't do the clip Kim on. Today that would be called clickbait. It was we had taken the chemtrailing and we saw the first plane coming, and while I was doing it, my wife looked up and goes, look, there is a huge orb, and I saw it. And so this time I run in, I grab my 8-inch, I drag it out, don't even plug it in. I'm doing this all manual. And so, and you know how hard it is to do that. So by luck, I get it in the viewfinder and I'm filming. And so this whole time, and one of the versions I posted, you can hear the conversation we're having, like, oh my God, these orbs are so much bigger than we thought they were. And I'm saying things like this, and all of a sudden the thing blows up. Boof! And all these particles start raining to the ground, and this like tether that was inside it with a little like white or red light on it fell. I realized instantly it's not a weather balloon, but it's exactly like a weather balloon. And what had happened, as far as we can tell, is the first plane came through, my wife spotted it, we set up, and as we were setting up, the second plane came through. So I've described that wrong. The second chemtrail came, and then my wife spotted it, but we're pretty sure, we didn't see it, that the object I filmed was dropped right out of the second plane because it was a flight path. First of all, and you can't just let weather balloons go anywhere. These planes were flying right there, but that's posted as well, and it gives some insight into them monitoring themselves, because I always imagined, I filmed it until my roof blocked me, and it fell into like crowded neighborhoods and all the crap raining down that came out of it, but I could see the little red black box thing. Then I could imagine that it said, call this number if you find this or something. They were collecting data. Yeah, they must have been pretty clear as a device they dropped out of a plane to collect data on their chemtrailing.
That's incredible. So these orbs, probably you think that they would have to do absolutely with the chemtrails, and the chemtrails having to do with the scheduling of the weather or something, right?
The thing where we realized if you want to film an orb, there have to be chemtrails. Then it got to a point where we realized we've never seen an orb if there aren't chemtrails. And then one day, and it was around the time that I filmed that 3-thruster, human machine that at the time seemed like a spacecraft to me almost. But that human tech, it was either the day before or day after, if I remember correctly. I might not be remembering that right. I see an orb and it goes by the moon, and I'm all, what the hell? So I get my scope on it, and you know what it did? It went all the way across the sky to get to a chemtrail.
Yeah, and see, this is what I'm seeing the orbs doing. See, I thought somehow that it was a highway, right? Well, I mean, I'm talking hypothetically in basic. I'm not adding in any info with what I'm saying, but it can be a highway. Like the orb is the same reflectivity as the chemtrail itself. We're not going to see it unless, like you said, noticing it, slowing it down. But they're there. They are there. Different sizes, different shapes. Basically, always cylindrical, oval. But some of them are like cotton candy, like you said, that blurry sort of thing. But what the heck are they? I don't know. But they're everywhere. I'm seeing them too. And could some of these orbs be seen at night? You know, some of the UFOs that are spotted, could it be some of those orbs?
Well, that's another good question, because it got to the point in San Diego, there was a period of time when I couldn't film the moon because there were so many chemtrails, and we began to ask the same question. Look how bright these orbs are. They look like little balls of light. Even when they're in a white chemtrail, you can see this little ball of light most times. And so we started saying, you know, we see them around chemtrails all the time. Why can't we see them at night? So I was busy trying to film, and that led me towards getting a full spectrum camera. So then I go out and I buy, I don't even know the model. I'd have to go look at the Canon with 24 megapixels. Yeah. But there's a place, I don't know if it's called Spencer's. No, it's not Spencer's. It's something else. It's in Utah or something like this. This dude takes them and he converts the chip cover so that it films a little into IR, a little into UV, and visual spectrum. And it gives you, like, your footage just has a pink look. But truth be told, you're not getting very far. It's full spectrum, just not very far into either spectrum. The reason for that is in the 70s, they changed the laws. Old tools made like in the early 70s go way into IR and UV, but the military said people can't have these anymore for some reason. I forget what the story was. Yeah, old Russian stuff from the early 70s goes ways in the spectrum, but that's when I got that.
The best stuff. That's why people are using some old equipment.
Exactly.
People are laughing at them. In reality, they're not the same. You know, it's like, no, I totally agree with that.
So it got to the point with the full spec that I could look through chemtrails and see the moon. As a matter of fact, one of the lunar waves I caught is rather bizarre because I'm filming the moon, and I have both cameras. I have my really good Nikon piggybacked on top of my scope with a honkin' telephoto and a doubler. So it's looking at the moon. So on the back of the scope, I have my full spectrum camera. Pretty soon, the regular camera piggybacking can't see through the chemtrails. I just turn it off. But the full spectrum is still peering through. They're getting so bad, the chemtrails, that it's starting to ruin my vision. And I'm talking on the phone as I'm doing this. And all of a sudden, all the chemtrails part, and lo and behold, a lunar wave goes by, and then all of the chemtrails cover back in over the moon. And I got that all with the full spec camera.
Yeah, well, so don't mean to cut you off, but do you agree with me? Maybe, possibly, you know, the chemtrails, I know it could be weather related, but could it also be hiding an astronomical event, something that they wouldn't want us to see, like in space? Like you say, it's covering the moon, you know, maybe it was trying to hide that at that moment, the lunar wave. I don't know. They said, there could be a lunar wave going by at a certain time. We'll just smoke certain areas. It'll be seen more in the States there because of where the sun is and blah, blah, blah. I mean, they could very easily do that. We'd never be able to say they're doing it because it's just always a cloud going by.
Just seems like you're being paranoid. No, we ask these questions. And for everyone, all of your people that are going to hear this, I would add this. We notice that they're always spraying across the ecliptic. Now, if you're thinking, what's the ecliptic? Just think to yourself, the sun comes up in the east, it travels a path and sets in the west. That path is the ecliptic. And so what it basically means is the sun, moon, and the so-called planets are all within that general area. But what you'll also notice is not are they always spraying across the ecliptic, but where sunrise and sunset occur. And so, there's something to it. And I have maintained for a long time that the person who takes as much time to film the moon that will film the sun will discover something astounding, because there are friends in the country that I have that have never seen a sunset or a sunrise in 4 years due to chemtrailing. Go over to Washington, D.C., it will it will boggle your brain how badly they are sprayed every single day. And that's where my friend told me, years since we've seen a rise or a set because of the chemtrail. And here where I am in Rhode Island, we have seen 2 days since I've been here, almost 3 years, where we could see the sun setting every other day. Chemtrails.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. And the chemtrails, they appeared at one time many years ago because I never saw them, the planes acting the way they were acting, and to see up to 7 or 8 planes side by side, like in almost an army formation, military formations. And again, you said something majorly important is along the ecliptical horizon, or it's going from moonrise to moonset, where the moon rises and sets, where the sun rises and sets. That line, that is where they are spraying, and they often spray when the moon is at the top of that line, over top of us, and I'm noticing that. That's something very real.
Well, people can pay attention to quite often the same thing you can say with the sun is, why are the chemtrails always between my point of view and the sun? I think chemtrails are doing a lot of things. They're manipulating weather, for one thing. That's admitted. And people still like to argue whether chemtrails are real. And I got news for people. That's admitted now, too. This is when I was back there trying to get people years ago to pay attention, and they're telling me I needed to put down the crack pipe, I don't have to make that argument anymore. It's admitted flat out that weather manipulation is real. As a matter of fact, in 2008, the Chinese openly admitted they had a weather modification bureau and accidentally caused a massive storm in the vicinity of the Olympics. But my point here is they're blocking a crap load of sunlight. That's one thing that you can demonstrate it's doing. They're manipulating weather. And then, of course, the lab reports, which we've known about for many years, prove that they're spraying heavy metals, barium, strontium, forms of aluminum. And this is not arguable stuff anymore. So all the people that kind of want to get conned by the contrail excuse, I got one more nugget for you. Go look up the engineers that will tell you about the modern high bypass jet engine, and they will tell you that modern high bypass jet engines are so efficient it is nearly impossible for them to create a contrail.
Oh, that's right. I believe that. And that's another thing, the contrails. People don't understand the difference, between a chemtrail and the contrail. They're all saying that all the planes have smoke behind them. Yes, they do at a certain height. Yes, they do. But the smoke doesn't react the same way.
It's not smoke. It's water.
There you go. Exactly. And it vaporizes itself. But aluminum oxides and all that spraying and what about, does it have to do with the, we've heard in the past, even during the Vietnam War, I think they had manipulated weather at one point and made it rain. Right. Over certain areas and stuff. So people say, oh, it's a bunch of bull and stuff. It's not. And you said yourself they even admitted to all of these. And this is very real. But the public is not interested, but they know. It's been inscribed that the chemtrails are very real. And we see people spraying them. I've seen pilots speak up themselves on video, which the videos are still up, saying, that there's how they're spraying and at what heights and different stuff, reasons why they have to spray. So, and the proof is there. It's absolutely there.
When I was a kid, this didn't go on. It was sometime in the mid to late 90s that it started to be visibly going on. By the time we passed into the 2000s, it started really picking up steam. By the time you get to 2005, there was nary a place in the world, and I had followers from every country with an internet connection. The only place I have ever heard from, some people in Australia say they don't see them a lot, but I've had others in Australia tell me they do. But the only place that claims they never get chemtrails is up in the Himalaya, near the Himalaya on the Indian side, which would make sense because that's all pretty pristine and all that. But yeah, it's just a shame how easily people are fooled into, like they've even began to edit old movies, chemtrails into them. And there was a good example of a television advertisement from the 70s where two kids are sitting on a fence by a train or something. The original version of that exists, and now the version they play now has a chemtrail added into it. And if you look at any car commercial, it's very rare when you're not being subconsciously programmed with the chemtrails. Like, here's our new car that you wish you could have, and your subconscious, by the way, is staring at the chemtrail in the sky right now, thinking that's just normal.
Exactly. And it becomes normal, eh? Whatever they tell us is going to be normal, well, people think it's normal, you know? Even my parents, my family and older people, they believe in the news. They watch the news to find out what's going on. And then, it's not that the news is always necessarily lying. It's that they don't know themselves half of the time what they're talking about when they're talking about chemtrails and stuff like that, But they shouldn't have that power, the media, to be able to say what they want, because everyone's believing every single thing that they're saying. If they talk, live headlines and they start saying that, well, there's nothing going on here and there's nothing going on there, most people will believe that. And it doesn't mean it's true. I'm happy that there's more people now keeping an open mind. And, it's sort of like we're living in this illusion where the signs are all up and everything, we got to follow the signs and stuff. But in reality, no one's reading between the lines. There's other signs, in nature and however that we're able to see that. But do you think there could be any, this is just a basic question, do you think any other planet could have life or an atmosphere like Earth? Crow, anywhere?
No, in the research that I've done, and I've gone back to some of the oldest texts we can get our hands on in this world. I've looked at the old alchemists, which is these guys precede the idea of when the church started making globes available to everybody and to take over curriculums and things like that. My view is that what you're looking at when you look at the moon, when you look at the sun, or any of the so-called planets, you're looking at a luminary. They're not nearly the distance you've been told they are. When I look through my telescope, if I'm looking at Jupiter, I'm looking at the moon, I think the same thing. This is part of our system here. These things are part of us. The moon, for my money, if you could get to it, which I don't believe you can, you couldn't set a boot on it. It's not a rock in space. Anyone who's done enough research and not just swallowed what they were told understands wholesale that the moon landing is complete poppycock, provable, complete poppycock. And once you know that, you have to start to ask, well, why? Why would they? Why go through all that? And what's funny about it is even if you look at when they told the moon landing lie, there was a trifecta that I used to use all the time to show what an illusion our world is. I used to call it Manson, Moon, Woodstock. The news in the U.S. put out the moon thing, then to get people quit looking the Manson thing, then the Woodstock thing was, those things were jammed right together. So it's like, look at this. Oh, don't look too long. Now look at this. In the United States, most people understand the news is here for one reason, and it's not to inform you of anything. Jason and I have done a number of shows to outright prove there are two mega corporations that own almost every single information system in this world that matters. What you're looking at is agenda. And not only that, it could be considered one corporation because all the board members of both corporations hang out in little things like the Club of Rome or the TFR, these types of things. So that the very same people are on these other clubs that are even at a higher level. But most people have a hard time when I began to explain the luminary idea. But in my view, we live in a closed system. Nobody gets out of this place with their body. That's why they didn't go to the moon. A lot of religious people like to say, told you so, that's the firmament. I'm not going to argue with those people. I don't call it the firmament, but what I call it is a hard, fast boundary. And I'm quite open to the idea that when we film a lunar wave, it has something directly to do with that boundary. And I'm also on the record as having said it's possible space is some kind of liquid. What we call space is some kind of liquid. Again, religious folks will come up and they will point out the firmament separates water from water. And again, I won't argue. These ideas are not peculiar to just Western religion. They show up in Eastern religions and other places. So that's my view. And I know it's probably somewhat different, but I'll tell you what, how long have you been filming with the big honking tools?
1 year with that 14-inch and no longer.
Wow.
I've been doing this for 2 years, but I started with a smaller telescope and even a camera at the beginning. But
you're going full time too, right?
Yeah, exactly. In January, I'm starting full time, and I'm going to start. And what I'm going to be doing is exactly what, like you just said, I'm going to be observing a lot of observations before making any drastic conclusion or any confirmation, which I don't confirm anything ever on the channel. I usually just share my own beliefs and thought. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the heck's going on up there around the moon, with the moon, and between. Like you said, there's some kind of liquid or something. It looks like it. I agree with it. It looks like we're looking through some kind of a clear ocean at times.
Yeah.
And, the things that I'm seeing flying around could be those little black things you're talking about, those oval things. I'm seeing a lot of clouds and mists that are changing directions and going whatnot on the surface. They're definitely there. Maybe they're off of the surface. I don't know how high off, because like you said, we don't know exactly how close the moon is. And I agree with you. I don't believe they went to the moon either. And they can't right now. I mean, so long science, it makes sense that it would be absolutely impossible. Even themselves, I think, I'm not going to mention any names, but we did hear some stories about some of the people themselves that went or that were responsible for the project, saying that they lost the technology to be able to go to the moon.
Well, here's one for you. The man who made the technology was Werner von Braun. I invite everyone to go look at his headstone. There is one thing written on his headstone. It is a verse from the Bible that encodes 9/11, and it basically says God's handiwork is the firmament. That's what Werner von Braun left us. But I was going to mention another thing, since you're into the water idea. You got a big honking scope. It would be very interesting to see footage from you where you pick up a bright star, like maybe Aldebaran or, anything, even a planet, and then take it out of focus. And when you take it out of focus and film it for a while, what you'll see is it looks exactly like the pattern a light in a swimming pool at night makes. But someone with a big scope like you that did that for like an hour or something, who knows what we've learned. Not only that, someone filmed in that way and caught a wave going across in the same way two people now have filmed the wave in front of Jupiter.
Oh, well, that's funny you say that. It was Jupiter or Venus that I filmed the wave, and I have a video up. And the wave are excessive waves that are waving one into each other. They're not all going the same way. They're all veering into each other and bouncing off the surface of Venus or Jupiter. I think it was Venus. And that was absolutely amazing. I caught that. I filmed it, and I never got that in front of any other planet, but it was something pretty incredible. I mean, it's funny that you say to go out of focus, because I actually was out of focus, and that's why I saw it.
Yep.
Literally why I saw it. Sometimes some people post, the research, and something's blurry, or there's a certain way or a certain color that they're seeing it, and they don't want to see it that way. Often people tell me, I want to see something clear. Stop filming, blurry stuff. Well, it's physically there. That blur could be what's there. So we're filming it, but people don't. It's when you look at a research video, sometimes, make a long story short, I do something like go out of focus or show it eccentrically different, but it shows us other features, like you just said,
That's right. And not only that, I would mention too, Venus is an odd duck of the so-called planets, the only one that phases, and it's basically the only thing brighter than Venus is a full moon. And not only that, whenever you hear in any old work the reference to the evening star or the morning star, because Venus can be both, that's what you're looking at. As a matter of fact, Islam, when you see that star on the moon, that star on the Islamic flag is Venus, believe it or not. Most people have forgotten that. But I'll tell you what, Bruce, I wanted to catch up, and I wanted to say hi to all your people, and I wanted to show you some respect, because believe me, I know how hard the work you're doing is. I did it for years.
Thanks a lot, man.
And that will do it for tonight's late night extended version of JP Presents. I'm JP, Jewish producer. You can call me Joe. I don't care. Anyways, have a good night. Maybe we'll see more of you this weekend.